What story could a cave possibly tell us? I mean, they say walls have ears, but that's just a saying, right? If walls could talk, they'd probably tell us to go outside and to stop masturbating all the time. And then we put posters over them in the hopes they won't see. But all that time staring at us touch ourselves must affect them psychologically. I already don't like seeing guys cup themselves on the bus. Imagine having to be my walls and watching someone jerk off 6 times a day, 5 times a 3. Imagine having to look at someone's dick. But the game Cave Story seems to show pretty well that any story told by Cave would be total gibberish. The story begins on a man harassing a woman over the internet. Okay, admittedly, this is the only part of the story that makes any sense. You only need to go on Twitter to realise that people with a decent web connection are usually assholes. After that, we're sent instantly to another area playing as a kid with amnesia. Wait, what? The game is attempting to tell me 2 stories at once, but one where the character has forgotten everything and the other where the game has forgotten to tell me anything about my character, except for the fact he wants to eat a cockroach. Don't tell her that's not how chatterblinds work. Before long, you stumble into a village of bunnies called Mimigas. Not much of a village actually, there are only 6 people and they're all kinda stereotyped. It's like I'm stuck in a bad episode of Friends. All your token characters are here. Tough guy, geeky guy, and the guy who grows weird plants in his basement. I'm not surprised. If there are only 6 people in my town, I would get pretty bored as well. Once you've explored the entirety of the village, you find a Mimiga called Toroko, and just as you find a character who might actually be likeable, she's taken away by a behemoth and a goth girl mistaking her for someone else. Thinking all rabbits look the same? Dude, that's racist. Okay, so the story gets a little convoluted here, so I'm gonna bring you up to speed. We are a boy with amnesia talking to rabbits in some underground area while being harassed by a floating ghost girl and her companion, a mini fridge with face paint. Meanwhile, the man is trapped in his house with nothing but an internet connection and a need for attention. If I didn't know better, I'd say I have more memory blanks than the amnesiac. What's more, just another hour into the game and we find an evil doctor wearing Skeletor's crown and Cthulhu living in the corridor of dragon eggs. If you can follow this story, you're probably growing plants in your basement too. One character told me I was a robot. Why? Why the hell not? I have white skin, I could well be a vampire and I just have to accept it. I think even if I did wake up with amnesia one day, my first instinct wouldn't be to find a gun and kill all the local wildlife. And don't electronics come with a backup memory? The amnesia gets really annoying later when people start talking about a war you know nothing about. God, it's like visiting an old folks home. So here's the plot from what Wikipedia and my limited IQ can understand. We are on a floating island and an evil doctor finds a demon crown and uses its power to harvest red flowers so he can force Mimigas to eat them and become brainless raging tyrants to take over the surface world. Okay, so if you're going to make Mimigas kill everything in sight, then what are you going to rule over? And if you're giving Mimigas flowers here, then what are you going to do to get them to the surface? Your options are making them jump off the floating island, and it doesn't matter how much you squat, you are not getting up from that fall. And your other option is to arrange transport for them, and I don't think a rage-filled, muscle-bound bunny is going to sit down quietly and play I Spy. And that's considering you can even get them in the transport vehicle in the first place. The only other muscle-bound character I can think of wasn't the most easily persuaded person. But with a plan so incredibly flawed, of course there's going to be resistance. Protecting a group of Mimigas is the robot Curly Brace. Probably called that because when coding her name she only needed 1 character. By the way, the Curly Brace key is on the same button as that square bracket thing you don't use either. I can understand the want to name robots after computer keys, but how deep does it go? Do all androids try to speak in punctuation marks wherever possible?
How about we do something naughty?
What did you have in mind? Heh heh heh, say it again.
I want to enter your colon.